Hi, this is Billie Beene here with another segment of U.S. News by Billie, episode 38. Today's date, July 20, 2023. Some of the things we'll be covering. Texas, hot potato oil. What's going on? Burn, baby, burn. UV, A, B, and C. What's going on in the Bermuda Triangle? And ARC ships are activating. Some of my sources are God and the Bible, Patriot subscribers. Watch Woman 65, Dr. Michael Salla, Suspicious Observers, Mary Greeley, Beforeitsnews with Best and Taylor, Hal Turner's site, website uvindex.com, another website, CBS News. They obtained an article from the magazine The Conversation regarding a heat study. I'll get into details on that. Website AccuWeather. Okay. Yeah. And Super Soldier Talk site also. So I'll list everything. Let's begin by drawing a map. Find out what's going on in the U.S. We've got some extreme heat going on and some other political issues. So let's get started. Okay. So we've got Florida, Texas, California, Mexico, Canada. Out here we've got the Bermuda Triangle. Goes from Miami, the Bahamas, up to Bermuda, down to Puerto Rico. Cuba would be out in this area. So we've got Texas. We've got Galveston, Texas. Okay, Minnesota. Got stuff going on. Arizona. Okay, definitely California. We've got Death Valley temperatures going on there. Okay. Now this, American authorities seized an Iran tanker. It's called the Suez Rajan, carrying stolen Iranian oil. And I covered that in my last video too. I mean, what's going on with Iran trying to seize tankers? Well, evidence had come out in my research that somehow or another oil was being stolen from Iran and they were trying to recover it. Well, the U.S. government seized a tanker, the Suez Rajan, carrying 800,000 barrels of stolen oil from Iran, and it's currently in Galveston, Texas, and it's a hot potato, baby, because the U.S. government cannot sell the oil once it's, I guess, some type of international agreement about stolen oil and who it belongs to. And Persian Gulf companies who could buy the oil, they're not touching it. They're afraid of Iran retaliating. So we've got a hot potato oil tanker tied up in Galveston, Texas. Who knows how long that's going to be there. Now we'll talk about some things going on with the weather. Okay, Suspicious Observers, a science-based space weather channel, is putting out in the last few days, we're going to have some M-class flares from the sun, and that means we'll have geomagnetic storms, about 2 to 3, maybe a KP index as much as 6. The KP index relates to the aurora borealis with a 6. We can see it coming down into mid-US. And this is coming out, that also is a proton storm, also called a radiation storm, is coming from the sun. And it can penetrate the Earth's electromagnetic shield and affect our weather and certainly pose some problems for we the people. And it does pose radiation danger for spacecraft and other maybe planes high up in the atmosphere. Yeah, so that's going on. And now today, that was on the 19th. On the 20th, yeah, tonight we can see a geomagnetic storm up to a 3, KP of 5 to 6, with the aurora northern lights down maybe to the midway. Now, what he's reporting also is new stars. And I had that information from God a few months ago. I put out a video about God was going to wind up certain constellations in the sky like we would rotate a gem locker, and we would see new stars. And Mike from Around the World is regularly on Pastor Paul Begley's Thursday night program. Had also brought that information out that Earth is changing, the sun is changing, planets are changing. This goes back to the 2012 Mayan. Supposedly that was the end of the world, but a modern translation is end of an age. So we're going to see new stars in the sky, and Ben Davidson with Suspicious Observers is documenting this. And he's also new studies that come out correlating the Earth's electromagnetic field that generates our magnetic, we would see it on a compass, our north and south and directions. And we know that many animals and humans too have magnetite. We have magnetite in our brains. Respond to the magnetic fields of the Earth. This new study is covering turtles who migrate with the Earth's magnetic fields, and also the effect on crickets. Who knew? Yeah. And when there's a shift in the north and south poles, as we anticipate coming in the next few years, it's going to affect the food chain up and down. Yeah, that's going on. Now we'll cover a little bit about what's going on with weather, because we're having some. God's information to me in the fall of 2020 was pay attention to the edges of the tectonic plates, because magma inside the Earth is rising. We'll see it most readily along the edges of the tectonic plates. So we have heat inside the Earth going up, and that's been substantiated by many sources, including Dutchsinse, and that heat is rising within the Earth and heating up the oceans. We also have in space, we have the sun, and then we have what's called a binary system, another sun coming in that's actually much larger than our sun, according to the information I've seen. And when it gets close enough to our sun, definitely is going to affect the Earth. It's going to recharge the new binary sun and draw heat from our sun, so we'll have less heat. That's when we go into an ice age, about 2030, predicted by many sources, including the WebBot data from Clif High. Okay. Also, Planet X and Nibiru. Okay, we have impacts upon the Earth from space. We have magma rising inside the Earth. We have temperature changes that are much more life-threatening, I think, and impact our health than initially would be thought. It was like a burr under my saddle. I had to research this. So, yeah. And what I was hearing in my spirit was radiation sickness. I think, it would be good for us to pay some attention to it. Okay. Now we have this. So we'll cover some temperatures we've been seeing in the weather. And in South Texas, along this area where I live, South Texas, So this morning we had a temperature of 81 degrees Fahrenheit. It's supposed to go to a high of 97 degrees. And it's good also to pay attention to the humidity. That's the amount of moisture in the air, which also factors into how your body can protect itself and cool itself down in hot temperatures. 84%. That means 84% of the air has humidity in it. We are more comfortable with a humidity level of about 50%. So humidity factors in, it's high. This 81 degrees would be 27 degrees Celsius, 97, 36 degrees Celsius. Now, what does this feels like temperature measure? 105 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's hot, hot, hot. Now I'll cover some new information I've learned recently that's very helpful. What is the UV index? UV index. That means how strong is the energy from the sun penetrating my skin. So you can go on a site, uvindex.com. And I've learned you could put in your location, but it's very specific. So for mine, I have to have a capital letter, a comma, and then skip a space, and I put Texas. And then I'll get the UV index for my location along South Texas coast. And I'll show you what it is today and how to interpret it. So it goes along with the hours of the day, and it will show you different colors which correspond to different degrees of UV rays and how serious it is for your health. So if you have green color, that's about a 2 level. If you have yellow, that's about a 5 to 6 level. If you have red, that's about a 10 level. If you have purple, that's about a 10 to 12 level. Now, for my location today, in the morning, it's going to be green, safe to go out. After about 5 o'clock, it'll be green. But in the middle of the day, it's going to be purple and red from about 11 to about 3 or 4. So, and what this means is, say you get if you have a UV index of 5 to 6, what that means is you would likely sunburn in 30 minutes. If you have a UV index of, say, 12, that means you would likely burn in 15 minutes. So if you double the UV index, then you divide the time for sunburn by 2. So I find that helpful because, like I said, what I've been hearing in my spirit is radiation sickness. And that's, nausea, headache. I mean, you can lose consciousness, you can heat stroke, you can die, and you can have it from, a nuclear event or from some medical devices that use nuclear material or from the sun. Okay, so now we're going to cover what is the average temperature for the body, 37 degrees Celsius or 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. And to cool yourself, you begin by sweating. Blood goes to the surface. It dilates. Your heartbeat goes up. So it's good to remain hydrated, be in an area where you can have air circulating. Some other symptoms: headache, nausea, dry mouth, muscle cramps. Oh, and decreasing the number of times that you urinate is a sure sign, because I've been there. And then it would dawn on me later, yeah, I stopped urinating hours ago. Okay, that's not good. affected by the sun. All right. And now we have Hal Turner documented also, this is a global issue, of course. The sun would affect the whole planet. It's heating up all oceans. This comes from Iran, from Hal Turner's document on Sunday, July 16, about noon. At the airport, there was 152 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 40 degrees Celsius, humidity 65%. So, yeah. So it feels like 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, the heat index was 152. The actual temperature was 40 degrees Celsius, or 104 degrees Fahrenheit, with a 65% humidity. So now it's always good to also calculate in humidity when you're trying to assess how should I dress, to go outside in this hot weather. And now we have this. Axios is documenting, 80 million people in the U.S. this coming weekend, which will be July 22 to 23, will have an average heat index of 105 Fahrenheit or 41 degrees Celsius. Heat wave, so in the U.S. this coming weekend. Now, in the past, the theory had been 90 and 90. That your body loses its ability to cool itself down with a temperature of 90 degrees Fahrenheit and a humidity of 90%. A new study, an actual study coming out from, I think that was Penn State, in 2022, measured on a group of young college students, maximum temperature and humidity, and it's much lower. The old standard was 90 and 90. The new standard is 87 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 31 degrees Celsius, with a humidity level of 50%. So this is much lower than what was thought in the past. And I submit to you that one reason that we're having a change in what is the danger level for humans is because we're having a global change in our sun up on the earth. We're having a earth and its electromagnetic shield is dramatically going down in strength and the ability to protect the earth from UV rays. And I submit we're also experiencing UVC rays on the ground, which we have not done in the past. So that's going on. So we have Phoenix, 19 days of temperature, 110 degrees Fahrenheit plus, a new record. Ryan Hall, y'all, is saying that the heat wave over this part of the U.S., in the next few days is going to move up to Canada and then back down to the East Coast. He says Minnesota is going to see temperatures 30 degrees plus in addition to their normal temperature. So we see heat in the U.S. And so that's going on. Now, out in this area, we had somewhere in this area a tropical storm dawn, but that is to go out to sea, it's believed. Another small location could develop in the next week or so. So we'll be keeping an eye on the tropics for sure. Okay, Mary Greeley and Dutchsinse are also documenting, Nevada. We had in Nevada on July 19 a 5.1 earthquake. That and then several aftershocks. That's a strong earthquake for the U.S. Now, we'll move on to Dr. Michael Salla's information that has to do with what's going on in the Bermuda Triangle. So we've been hearing this information about arc ships. And we have arc ships on a timeline 445,000 years ago. This information comes from GeneDecode. We had a planet blow up, Tiamat, and we had humans come to the Earth. We've also had other species. We have the Nephilim, which is the fallen angels, but we have other non-terrestrial species, which also try to kidnap and sell humans off-world and other things. So 445,000 years ago, Tiamat had a humans versus non-terrestrial species war. The planet blew up. Humans came here. Now, we had Atlantis, Lemuria, Mu. These things went on with genetic manipulation of humans, of non-terrestrial species, of plants, of animals, which God despises. God, over a period of 50,000 years ago, and the last occurred 12,000 years ago, took all of these societies out and he created a new Adam and Eve 6,000 years ago. And now we're still on the same cycle. God does put things in cycles. The purpose is basically to recharge energy systems in stars and planets. But he also can use natural events to bring about extinction level events when genetic manipulation is going on. So now we're on this timeline for a new situation, to a new cycle. So 12,000 years ago, and it also breaks down into 6,000 year segments, and we had that incident with Noah and his flood. That was an extinction level event brought about or allowed or facilitated by God because of genetic manipulation. So we're on that time frame. Now, we have all over the earth, we have arc ships that have come here from other civilizations over various time periods. Different people with different genetics are linked to these ships. So some of the ship locations, we have Hawaii, which was the ancient Mu. We have in the U.S., and this looks like Arizona, Florida, just off the U.S. coast. We've got 3 in Canada, but we have more than this. I just documented these probably about 6 months ago. A couple in South America. Here we have Africa. We have quite a few in Europe. We know we have 2 locations in Ukraine, Kherson and Kiev. We have some in Russia. So multiple locations for arc ships that have come here over the last almost 500,000 years. Different civilizations, different timelines, and they're activating. Now we have one activating that's been activating in this area right here. And Dr. Michael Salla has been interviewing a so-called Army whistleblower, JP. I submit JP is a formal part of the White Hat U.S. military disclosure program. Okay, so he's made another trip to the ARC ship that's located off of Florida in the Bermuda Triangle area. And he did this in mid-June of 2023. And he went down with 6 people, and they are tied by genetics, and certain individuals can open doors in certain ARC ships. Okay, so they went into the ship, and their job was to obtain a stone jewel tool that they took off of the ARC ship and that they're going to use to activate or open other ARC ships and other locations on Earth. Now, while they were there, they had a time dilation, slow down. They thought they were on the ship for 2 or 3 hours. When they came out, they had been down there for 2 days. The U.S. military in this area had lost contact with them for 2 days. Now, time, we have different opinions, but here is Earth, which is a physical reality. I put out a video, 2022, God, Clif High, and Reality, and that's still on Rumble, Super Soldier Talk. I'll put the information for you on that. That we live, this is a 3D, but it's physical reality and it's physical time. Now, the teaching I had from Jesus, and also the same teaching that Jesus gave to the late prophet John Paul Jackson, was when you go off of a planet, you get here, time is only now. So you can go past, present, or future, and you can come off of the earth, go into this dimension, and then come back down into other time periods of the earth. So that's going on. So when this group from the U.S. military went into the ARC ship located in the Bermuda Triangle in mid-June, they experienced time dilation. And they also are certain frequencies are activating them. Now, I'll put this on here. Certain downloads I've had from God recently. So we have this. And we know that the Nephilim and also other non-terrestrial species have engaged in genetic manipulation. So the download I had from God recently was the statues we see in ancient Greek and Roman times. I always wondered, why are they naked? The download I had from God was individuals were engaging in genetic manipulation, and they put out these naked statues as examples of their genetic manipulation on humans. So that's going on. Now we have this. They found a statue on the ARC ship that was barefooted, looked somewhat like Buddha, and it was barefooted, had a staff, was made of gold and silver. And also, while this group was, who had been previously selected based on their genetics, were in the ship, they had to maintain a certain meditative state of mind, because the ship is somewhat, I submit to you, it's a bio form of AI. And I brought out information on this in previous videos. So they had to do that. Now, right. And JP was saying you have this feeling that everything is connected. I will correlate that with when I was in college in the 90s. I had an epiphany one day when I went into my English class. It's like I had my girl friend next to me, and everything like faded, and I saw this huge interconnection of lights and this spiritual understanding. Everything is connected. After that, I became a science major studying biology and earth. So yeah, everything's connected. I believe it. Now we have this, and we've been learning about quantum entanglement recently too. Now we have this. Okay, so we've been hearing about the Schumann vibration of the Earth going up from the historic 7.83 hertz, 1 pulse per second. And it's been going up. Now I submit to you the possibility that it's going to stabilize at 3 times 7 times 12. And these are the numbers that God gave me when I was doing what's going to happen to the constellations. These are numbers that we would consider sacred in the Bible. 3, 7, 12. Okay. So you multiply these, you come out with 252. And now we have, what does this mean from the Bible? It means old age ending, a new age begins, and change. And I submit to you that the Schumann is going to stabilize, I believe, at 252 pulses per second. Yeah. It's a new glorious time, an exciting time to be alive. Now we have this. And so they got the, it was a jewel. It's like several, it's a stone jewel tool they took off of the ark located here, and they're going to use it to try and open arcs in other parts of the world. And it's about 2 to 3 feet long. It's purple and has black and white streaks in it. And they took it off and brought it onto the ship in this area. And when they did, they put it on a platform of gold. And the jewel stood up, and it's somewhat in a diamond shape, and began to generate something like our electromagnetic shield around the Earth, energy. So that's going on. Now, we have this. We have also, when they came up, there were planes around here from 15 nations who were communicating with one another using lights in Morse code. And the purpose of this jewel tool is to activate arc ships and also temples in different parts of the world. So we'll see how that works out in the future. And now I submit to you this. So Hal Turner also brought out this information, and I picked this up also from Best and Taylor about UVC rays coming down from the sun. And all of my research said, no, the shield around the Earth reflects this. That wasn't, what I was hearing in my spirit. I was hearing, most probable, and radiation sickness. So Hal Turner has come out with this information that in Central Florida, there's a study going on. It's not complete yet, but it is measuring UVC rays, which appear to be coming down to the ground level. And so what does this mean? So we have UVA, B, and C. So A is our average ray from the sun, and we would get sunburn maybe in 30 or minutes or an hour. Depends on how much melatonin you have in your skin. B, a little faster. C, you would sunburn in 1 to 2 minutes. So this could be certainly give you radiation sickness, particularly if you weren't aware of it and taking steps against it. Now, Amazon also has a full line of clothing. I'm sure there are other locations too, to help protect against the sun, in addition to sunscreen. But I think it is good with that new study showing a much lower temperature and humidity level posing a danger for we humans. And I submit it's because we have these global heating events going on inside the earth and also from space. So, a short prayer. Yes, and stay hydrated for sure. So I'll use a modified version of General Patton's World War II prayer. Father, grant us fair weather for battle. Guide us from victory to victory and crush our enemies. And we thank you, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and God the Holy Spirit. It's good to prep and stay hydrated and out of the sun if possible. I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there, continue to pray. It's good to remember God is in charge and He is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.